correct me if I'm wrong. If I
will.
rewind about
I
8
certainly
months
will,
ago,
sir.
do you remember Doge? And didn't
Wow.
they fire a whole bunch of the scientists in the
Yeah,
Department of
didn't they
Energy?
kill? I thought they were trying to kill that department.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were trying to kill that. They had put together like the scaffolding to effectively dismantle it.
Hey guys, now that we like cleaned out all of your colleagues, go and do this huge AI initiative.
Start it up. Let's get it rolling. Big ideas, money folding. Hustle smart, dream so wild. Turn that grind into a joyride. Ha.
Hey, man.
Hey,
What's going on?
that's a
Let's
terrible.
Keep that in the show.
Keep
That
that
was
in the
really
show?
good. Yeah. Hey. Oh, what are you doing
You
here?
caught me by surprise.
Did you notice me sitting here the entire time?
How did I get here?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I blacked out.
All right. Today we are talking about the Genesis mission.
Isn't this like Star Trek 3? Star Trek 2?
No, that's the Genesis planet.
Yeah, but that's where Spock comes back to life.
Yeah, they shot dead Spock.
Remember,
into
he
the
was
Genesis planet.
radiated fixing the warp reactor.
Yeah.
And they fire him in the torpedo into the Genesis planet.
The good of the many outweighs the good of the few.
Yeah.
Or the one.
Or the one.
So
Wah.
sad.
Wah, wah. Hey, it doesn't matter. Nobody dies. It's like Star Wars.
And then he
Nobody
comes
dies.
back and he's like a little kid running around on Genesis.
Oh,
planet.
really? Oh, yeah. I
And then they
forgot.
find him and
Yeah.
bring him back. And then he
Wow.
goes through like Vulcan puberty.
It's like, have you ever seen Guardians of the Galaxy? There's the character Groot, and Groot in the first one is like a very mature tree. And spoiler alert, he's a tree. Okay, he's
Yeah.
a tree. It's weird, but he's cool. And he's like the best character. But anyway, so then he like saves everybody at the end of the first one and kind of like dies doing it.
Yeah.
But he's like a sapling again.
Right,
And then
right.
he becomes like a
But he-
teenager
yeah.
and he's like an asshole. It's
Yeah.
really funny, actually. It's good. It's good stuff. Whatever.
I've ever seen that. Yeah. All right.
All right.
So,
Oh, yeah,
all right,
you
let's
watched
get
all
back
the
to
MCU with me too. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, all
What are we doing here?
Yeah. So this is Trump's AI moonshot, or possibly an energy bill disaster.
Yeah.
You know how like everybody's talking about energy costs being too high right now.
Yes.
Apparently, right now, or they're actually saying by
27 nuclear reactors for OpenAI, right?
yeah.
That's what they need to power the
Is
data
that
centers.
future or current?
Future. That's what they need
Yeah,
to power.
2028. They're saying that like 12% of energy production in the United States will be for AI.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
the
big.
first problem we should be working on is fusion. Like,
Yeah.
I know we're actually like, there's been legitimate progress on fusion power, like fusion technology, but like, I feel like this is the whole machine god
So,
thing.
I think that's actually what this Genesis mission thing is all about. Because all right, so can I table
Set the
for you?
table.
All right, so White House launched the Genesis mission recently. The AI initiative that Trump's science advisors called the largest marshaling of federal scientific resources since the Apollo program. The goal to use AI to revolutionize scientific discovery. The promise: lower your energy bills. The question: is this innovation or just another government boondoggle?
Boondoggle. This is so AI written, this prompt.
Yeah, that's my summary of what
I'm
this
surprised
is,
it
but
didn't compare it to the Manhattan Project because it
Yeah,
feels more
so
like
actually,
the Manhattan Project than the
there are
Apollo
many
Project.
comparisons to the Manhattan
Because it's
Project.
infrastructure based, whereas like
Yeah.
I think it was like very complicated. I don't know. I'd be.
So, Can I continue my table setting here?
Oh, okay.
All right. So this is an executive order, meaning that Congress has not done anything about this.
Which
no law,
allocates the money.
no money allocated,
Yeah.
right? Like that.
Right.
Okay. So the Genesis mission allows the Department of Energy's national laboratories to collaborate with tech companies and academics using AI to further scientific research. Good
Cool.
idea.
Yep.
I like this.
Mhm.
Okay. So DOE will build an integrated AI platform to harness the federal scientific data sets, the world's largest collection developed over decades to train scientific foundation models and create AI agents. Why has that not already happened?
Yeah, that is kind of surprising.
Are you telling me all the scientific data sets are siloed all over the place?
Yeah, definitely.
Like nobody ever thought of, hey, like, can we put these someplace where everybody can get them easily?
Is there like a competitive issue there that they didn't want to?
I'm just shocked actually just reading
It's
that
a capitalist system, so it's based on the value of like shareholder value, right? Is what we're boiling down to on a lot of this. And so I think you're not going to see information sharing in that context.
Yeah.
Right?
So
is the idea, hang on, can I ask really quick? Is the idea there that it's more like rather than having like, so OpenAI continues to work on and Claude and all them or Anthropic, they're all trying to work on the machine god. Whereas this is more like specific scientific applications for AI for LLMs in very specific use cases. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. So they're trying to solve some of the biggest problems. So key areas.
So this is what China's doing.
Yeah.
China's
part of the reason they're doing this because China's doing this. Okay?
China did it first.
Key areas include biotech, critical minerals, nuclear fission, and fusion. So fusion reactors is part of this.
Okay.
Space exploration, quantum information sciences, so quantum computing.
Cool.
And semiconductors, microelectronics. So like they're trying to go after the big problems.
Wow.
And get the scientific community all focused on this sort of thing.
This is a great idea.
Yeah.
I really don't agree with the Trump administration like 99% of things, but this is a great idea.
Okay. So
I'm excited.
Department of Energy has 17 national laboratories, and they'll mobilize about 40,000 scientists, engineers, technical staff, along with private sector innovators. So NVIDIA, Anthropic announced that they're partnering with the Trump administration on the initiative. NVIDIA and Oracle also announced that they're partnering with them to build supercomputers for Argonne National Laboratory, and Dell is developing a supercomputer.
Hey,
for
that's
Berkeley
an
Lab.
AppArmor customer.
I know.
Oh,
that's
man.
why I brought that up. Argonne National Laboratory. Yeah,
let's go.
We had some weird use cases for, like, we did primarily public safety apps for colleges and universities.
Yeah, it was anything
because they had like campuses.
Yeah,
and then so we had Argonne National Laboratory was one of our clients because they had a campus and they needed to make all the safety stuff accessible. So kind of small world there. Maybe we get in on this because of that. I don't know.
Do we get a cut of the federal funds?
I have no
Two Canadian
idea.
dudes. Okay, sorry, keep going.
David Chris showed
Hey, we
up.
got a lot more money for the pod. All of a sudden, we're good.
David Chris showed up. They'd like to help.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so,
I can sell things.
So the hypocrisy on this a little bit is that, like, obviously it's trying to figure out nuclear fusion and stuff like better nuclear reactors and all those types of things. But like this is going to drive energy prices actually up because they're then going to create more demand for electricity. And it's not like you build, energy power plants overnight. They take decades to put together, and you can't just ramp them up either. I think they were talking about, wasn't Microsoft talking about like firing up what was it, 3 Mile Island? I want to say I want to say 8 Mile because I'm thinking of Eminem, but
that's a different nuclear plant run by Eminem. 3 Mile Island. Yeah.
So like obviously there's not enough power as it is. The energy
conspicuously 8 miles long. Sorry, that's really
it's on my playlist when I work.
Yeah,
in the morning,
sure,
so,
cool,
yeah,
nice,
yeah.
sweet man.
Anyways, so what's your hot take on this?
Cool. I think it's a cool idea. I think it should happen, sort of as you were alluding to. Like, I'm not surprised it's siloed, but I'm glad they're trying to like unsilo it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Well, I mean. Okay, so short-term pain, long-term gain. Short-term pain will definitely be that like consumer energy costs will go up. And I think what's going to be weird is that consumers, so American citizens, will effectively be funding, well, they will objectively be sort of funding the energy costs of these initiatives. How significant is that cost going to be per person? So like presumably like 12% or something like that. You just said per person. So you can kind of work it out. So for some people, that's going to be like a lot more money, and that's going to be like,
it's gonna be tough in the short term.
It's gonna be tough in the short term.
Yeah.
Longer term, I kind of think that like because of the short term pain, like necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
Like doing something like this is like politically probably both good and bad. But I think the politics of it and the pressure that that'll put on the administration to try to deliver sort of almost like financial easing on energy costs might cause them to be. Well, it might cause both positive and negative reactions. I'll go with the positive first, which is that they might prioritize energy-specific projects first in this, like, trying to figure out all these different things. I know they're all kind of happening at the same time, but I'm assuming there's some sort of allocation of resources at these organizations, and they might be like, hey, can you focus more on fission or fusion power or, I don't know, putting solar panels in space? I don't know, what the hell, anything.
Right.
But, like, something that, like... I sold my business for $40 million, and I want you to steal my ideas. Check out my book, Startup Different, on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle.
But I think what you just said there is one of the biggest problems. Okay.
Solar panels in space? Yes.
There is no.
Here we go. Chris's rant against solar panels in space.
I like this.
Yeah.
I have no problem with this. My problem with this is that when you so they've compared this to like the Apollo missions, and that was very specific. It was before the end of the 1960s. We'd land a man on the moon. Okay, it was very specific. Whereas this is pretty broad. It's like quantum and fusion.
Yeah, it'd be
and,
nice to kind of like pick one, but I think
like
part
by
of
when. And it's very like there's no clear goal. There's a whole bunch of competing goals with no clear timelines or any clear.
But like what? Okay, so let's look at other historical American moonshots.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding the literal moonshot. Like Biden had suggested that they were going to like cure cancer. I think it was during the Obama administration or like a couple years ago or whatever. Like that didn't happen either. Like I don't think like timelines matter. But with stuff like this,
but why did it happen for the Apollo program?
Because I think perhaps the nature of so putting that in context is, well, you're bringing out the history in me.
Yeah.
So the Russians had been successful in everything else up to that first person in orbit, first like thing in orbit, first satellite, first rotation of the moon, first orbit of the moon. They've done everything else before that. And then the Americans got on the moon, they go, we won the space race. Okay. So it's kind of like complicated.
Yeah.
But I think that like contextually, like it was like very doable and they knew somebody else was doing it. It's like if you're like, let's say, which I can't remember if it was like Virgin Galactic or whatever.
Yeah.
But somebody else landed a rocket the other day. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
Amazon, maybe?
No, yeah, it was what they call Blue Origin.
Yeah, Blue Angel or something.
Yeah.
So that, but they landed a rocket, but they already knew it could be done.
Yeah.
Somebody else landed a rocket. So there's
of
something to be said, like the timeline because all the other steps before that have been already figured out.
Right.
Okay, so then you're like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense to be able to call it.
Yeah.
He also called it. That was John F. Kennedy. Was that 1963?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so like that's a lot of time. That's still like many, many years to actually pull that off, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't think it's, but hang on. I'll agree. I will agree that they should probably have some sense of what they're prioritizing.
Right.
Having 8 objectives is a bad idea. You want to have like one objective that you're going to push for, whatever. But I think probably the complexity there is that if you're going to enlist 40,000 scientists, they're not all working on the same problem.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's going to be one team somewhere that's the lead on fusion and lead on fission, the lead on quantum.
Yep. And
they want to empower all of those people at the same time. Last thing, in the context of AI, we've heard about the singularity and the machine god and whatever, like AGI.
Yep.
And that's presumably in the next 3 years,
right?
3 to 10 years, let's just say. So then you're kind of like, that's the timeline. I would suggest, like, without them actually explicitly saying.
To their credit, they're actually moving fairly fast. I think the initial timeline is within 90 days, Secretary of Energy must identify systems and data available, and within 270 days, AI should be applied to practical and critical scientific issues. So they did put sort of a timeline, but it's still pretty vague. Okay.
I also just think that this is like a really big almost like change management problem.
Yeah.
Like how do you organize efficiently and effectively like 40,000 scientists, which like some percentage of them are deeply skeptical of AI and some percentage of them don't want to stop the way they're doing it. And it's like there's a whole shitload of problems here trying to actually do this. I think the one thing that they had going for them for the Cold War was it felt very existential. Yeah. They talk about, like, I wasn't alive then, but they talk about when Sputnik, the first satellite's flying over, and people would like watch it at night and be like, that's Sputnik going by. And they'd be freaked out because they're like, the Russians are watching us. And like, it felt very much like they were losing a really important war and like, it was a cold, like, there are tanks facing each other in Berlin. Like it's really a different scenario.
But so think about, China is the adversary.
China's far away. China's like, it doesn't,
but think about like the DeepSeek, when DeepSeek came out, everybody freaked out.
Or actually Moonshot.ai, which is actually an LLM in China.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyway, there's a whole other side.
We had our Project Moonshot.
Project Moonshot was where we were going to blow up the moon. Yeah. And then we were going to sell the rocks. And it's because tidal erosion damage is very serious and it hurts all of our...
So we blow up the moon.
All we need to do is buy like 3 ICBMs, and I think we got this. But anyway, so that's very stupid. but like I just don't think it's the same kind of. It doesn't feel the same. Okay,
Right.
there's also something else to be said about like the nature of like a nuclear conflict or a potential nuclear conflict versus like we don't know what this is. Chatbots being more efficient, more cost efficient is like the big threat.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel the same.
Yeah.
I just it's a different. If China invades Taiwan, and then all of a sudden we're like like a stone's throw away from an armed conflict with China, then I think you have a totally different reaction. You have a national galvanization. You have like in Canada here, we have very strong nationalism right now because of some of the stuff that's happened through the U.S.
Yeah,
and it's a different vibe. Like people are in, and I don't think people are going to be like in the same way as the Manhattan Project actively during a war or the Apollo program during the Cold War, and facing mutually assured destruction.
Right.
There you go. There's your history. Boom.
Boom.
We're now a history podcast. I'm actually really enjoying this. All of a sudden.
Yeah, it went from being tech things that Chris can talk about to being
Chris
history
just like,
things.
I agree.
Like, I'm just going to take whatever Dave says on this.
It just feels really different.
Do you think that? Correct me if I'm wrong. If I rewind about 8 months ago,
sir.
Do you remember Doge?
Yeah.
And did
Wow.
they fire a whole bunch of the scientists in the Department of
Didn't they
Energy?
kill? I thought they were trying to kill that department.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were trying to kill that, and yeah, they had put together like the scaffolding to effectively dismantle it.
Hey guys, now that we like cleaned out all of your colleagues, go and do this huge AI initiative.
I think they
and
just
drop
needed somewhere to
everything.
put it. Maybe they'll rename it the Department of AI. So can I talk about something else here that I find
Sure.
interesting? I think we talked about this weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, where I said that that the government should get involved in AI as a purpose for the purposes of both protecting consumers, protecting citizens from these companies, having some level of accountability, and sort of supporting the process. And we're kind of tiptoeing towards this now.
Yeah.
And I think it will make. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I like the idea that it will purposely probably slow this down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think that there needs to be more safeguards. There needs to be more understanding of this. There needs to be more government oversight. And I think you get there. I don't like the current government in the United States, but I do think that the government of the United States, we know if there's whatever next president is, should be involved in the oversight of this tool, because this tool has the capability to become a very powerful weapon.
Yeah.
And has the fundamental capability of changing our lives.
Yeah. Like I think
Globally, like
with
every person's life.
With all the research that these laboratories have access to, that apparently is all siloed, bringing that together into an LLM, pre-training an LLM
That
with all
sounds
that,
like
that
AGI
sounds
to me,
incredible,
right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's actually sounds like a super intelligence.
Yeah, because I think of like they trained OpenAI on like the entire internet, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about like when I was doing a lot of development work, I'd be like scouring Stack Overflow to try and find like coding tips, and like 9 out of 10 didn't work. Okay,
Right.
and we're using that to train AI. Now, obviously, vector data, like the links between things that worked and things that don't are like weaker. Like, so it sort of sorts
neural
itself out.
network.
But if you've got like actual research by actual scientists and you're pure, like that is your pure training for your AI, that's got to be putting your AI foundational model in a much better place than every whim that anybody's ever had on the internet.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah. Yeah, like it's got to have a higher prioritization, or generally speaking, would be more effective.
Yeah, and AI models, I should say too, there is weighting to the way that AI models and you do their pre-training. But at the same time, do you even need the crap, or can you just go with like scientific gold standard research and into a purpose-built research LLM?
There's probably value to the crap that we don't understand, but maybe it's a way of being able to explain complicated topics in a way that people who are less familiar with the topic would understand, because these scientists are siloed. So even understanding from one silo to the next might be really beneficial, that it has some of the quote unquote crap. Yeah. But I don't know. It's interesting. I think that gets you a lot closer to the super intelligence if it's learning all this kind of stuff. I think also too, like there's breakthrough, like there's things I've seen, for example, with mathematics, like a specific like AI agent at some math thing. Like it was like a research project, and it just like casually didn't really like point it out, but like just sort of did this like novel way of solving this problem that they had never really, the humans had never really thought about before.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, oh, that actually works really well.
That's incredible.
And
yeah.
so there's stuff like that where like I think that's what we're hoping to get out of this. Is my hot take on that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Let's assume that this goes well and they're successful. What does it look like a couple years down the road?
I think we'd have technological advances that are like material, like things that.
So you think we're at the point where like, okay, we're going to build our first actual like quantum computer, supercomputer, or we're going to build our first nuclear fusion reactor.
Well, there are nuclear fusion reactors.
There are, but I think they're only getting a small amount more energy out of them than they're putting into it.
Yeah.
Like they've still got to get to the point where it's really.
But I mean, like those people would
exponential.
theoretically, like if you're combining. So here's the other piece to it that I think is kind of interesting. That would be cool. Would be a lot of the fusion projects, or at least some of them I know, are like nationally funded by like European countries. Like I think France has a big one.
Yeah.
Like you'd naturally, like for the benefit of humanity, you'd like want the American researchers that are working on fusion that are using these AI LLMs to also work with those people.
Right.
That'd be interesting. I don't think that's going to happen. I kind of view this as very much like a nationalist effort in the United States to just, as you suggested, counter China.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I don't know. That would be nice. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, because I feel like that's where we're going to see a lot of gains too.
I always find government screws these types of things up. Like they just never quite materialize the way you're hoping for whatever reason. I don't know. But then again, like Apollo moon landing is a example of a tremendous success. You know, Manhattan Project is tremendous success. So,
but like clear constraints, though, to your point, like earlier, like very clear constraints as to what they were trying to accomplish, and clear objective and clear constraints to get there.
Yeah.
It is kind of interesting because it's so much more open-ended. It does feel, it would be interesting to me to know what those outcomes, the desired outcomes would be. I think they're believing like, we just dump into this and we'll get something out.
Bothers me, and it's an executive order. Bothers me that they just fired a whole bunch of these scientists.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Bothers me that there's no clear timelines or clear outcomes that they're trying to.
That's very government.
If they had said, look, we want to marshal all these AI resources, all these data sets, so that we can crack, fusion reactors, and we want to build a fusion reactor before 2030. Okay, I feel like they're just too all over the map, or they need to silo this, somehow, and say this group is going to take on this one. This group is going to take on this one.
Perhaps prioritization is a better word.
Yeah.
Because like siloing is the problem in the first place.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's like, look, generally I'm supportive. Do I think it's going to have a lot of problems? Yes. Yeah. But it would be interesting to see if that helps like solve some like really material problems. And I feel like, look, all this investment and one of those things plays out, I think justifies that investment pretty quickly.
Yeah.
We're talking about technological leaps, like the things that we've never really been able to solve, but we've been working on for, in some cases, like 50, 60 years. Like, to me, this seems like a good thing to be investing in. I don't know.
Absolutely.
You just need one. You just need one, I think. So
China will get the other ones.
Yeah. That'll go well, right?
Oh, no.
Anyway, cool.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
We solved it.
Solved. Done. Fusion power coming up next. All right, folks. See you next week.
Start it up. Let's get it rolling. Big ideas. Money folding. Hustle smart. Dream so wild. Turn that grind into a joyride.